Hello and welcome everyone to Sights on Sinnoh. This is episode 29 of the Diamond and Pearl Anime Podcast. And this week I am joined by two guests, Brady and Greg. How are you guys doing this week?
Hey, doing
Good.
well.
I am good. I have a shower again. I'm very excited.
Oh, where did it go?
It stopped giving us hot water 2.5 weeks ago.
You're showering at the gym, right?
Yeah, when I wanted to make the half-an-hour trek to the gym. Otherwise, I was taking pitchers full of water up to the bathroom and dumping them on myself.
Interesting. Oh, your
some
sink was
fun.
out too?
No, I mean, the sink works, but the sink doesn't have a way to get... It's a smaller sink, so filling up a pitcher of water would be like, okay, I was either at that sink or I just go down to the big sink, fill it up with hot water, and carry pitchers up, and then just deal with it all at once.
Big
I'm glad you
sink.
sorted that all out.
Yes, it's
Not fun.
X amount of money later to a plumber, it's fixed.
Any plumbing this week for you, Brady?
No, thankfully.
Okay, good. Because Brady has a basement, and I don't want to deal with any of that.
The fabled everybody can live in my basement.
Oh,
Yes, it's that basement.
the basement with see for me it's mythical because it has a window.
Okay, there are multiple windows, and there's multiple reasons for them. One, it allows light to come in, and two, in case of a fire, you can't run up the stairs if the stairs are on fire. Then you have like multiple escape. Exactly, and then you have multiple escape routes that way down here.
Are they full windows in a window well?
Yes.
Okay.
Now you might be thinking, listeners, why we're doing a tag team of co-hosts here. And yes, I know we've done this before, but I felt like it was quite fitting for this episode and the next two that follow, as this one is titled Tag, We're It. And the blurb for the episode reads, Dawn is still feeling a little blue after her early exit from Hearthome Pokémon contest, so her friends convince her to compete in a tag battle tournament along with Ash and Brock. Our heroes head to the opening ceremonies to learn who their randomly chosen tag partners are, and we get to meet a few new characters including Conway, Holly, and a returning character, Ash's rival, Paul. So for this episode, this is following up on Dawn's contest episode where she lost, and the opening here is not a cold open, if I remember correctly.
No, it's just like, hey, we're actually going to jump into the episode, which I was confused about because it's always been a cold open that gets covered again later in the episode, and then it's like, nope, we're just doing this. Okay.
Yeah, I think it was good because it's already a packed like 3-parter, so I'm glad they cut to the chase. What
And
do you think, Brady?
it's not a terrible title for once.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. Okay, Greg kind of approves.
Yeah, anytime there's a cold open, I'm not a fan. I don't think there's been one this entire time that I've enjoyed and thought like that it benefited the episode. I don't think.
And I think this one did a pretty good introduction with just covering a little bit of how Dawn's feeling, and then Ash and Brock saying, hey, we entered you in this contest as suggested by Zoe.
That felt weird.
Okay. I'm glad that came up.
Like, hey, Zoe said you should like this. For reasons, loser.
Hey, Zoe lost too, but she just left for
she
some
just
reason.
left. And they're like, do this battle, because Zoe thought you could use the experience, Dawn.
Oh, man. Okay, this is my question. Do you think Zoe actually suggested this, or are they just lying to her?
I don't think Ash and Brock are emotionally intelligent enough to know what Dawn needs. It is definitely a Zoe thing.
Okay. And so that sounds like you're saying this is actually something that Dawn needs then, or like may need emotionally.
No, emotionally, I think to distract,
Mm-hmm.
to just have a distraction, and to like,
Right.
I mean, we'll get to it, but it doesn't start off well for Dawn.
Yeah. Yeah. That's fair. Brady, what were your thoughts on the like intro here to loop Dawn into this competition?
Yeah, so I was a little confused. First of all, I mean, you sign up someone for a competition without talking to them about it first.
Mhm.
That seems like something that you'd want to do prior. And secondly, like the way, at least the way that I felt it was presented, was that Ash and Brock were going to be on a team, and then Dawn didn't have a partner, so I was really confused.
Yeah, it would have been one thing. It was like we just signed you up for this battle thing, but it's no, we signed you up to be in a stranger tag team battle.
Yeah. It is weird because in the previous episode, Ash and Brock both say like, "Oh yeah, we can be a team," because they don't know that's going to be a randomized event. But yeah, it's like, what if Dawn had said no? Would like Conway just not have a partner?
I mean, would have that been so bad? Yeah, how did they control the exact amount of people?
That's a
There's a
good
lot of
question.
questions about how they set this up, especially since they went all the way up to the letter X.
It's also a very famous event, apparently. So
Apparently, that we've never heard of before, nor has Dawn ever heard of before,
no.
living in this region.
Yeah, it's Nando actually who tells our heroes about it in the last episode. And Nando knows but doesn't want to compete because he's focusing on the contest. So I don't even know how he knows. But
I
this
mean,
is
Nando
where
is amazing and knows everything and is the best character of this
Oh,
anime.
of
So.
course. Clearly. And not named Nacho before Brady says anything.
Well, that was Karina, but I picked up on it too.
Oh, okay. Fair. And here, everyone gets their number, and the MC announces the event prizes, which will be a pair of Soothe Bells for the winner, since this event is all about collaboration and friendship. Soothe Bells being, of course, a well-known item in the games for raising the friendship of your Pokemon. So, Friendship Evolution lovers everywhere, that's your go-to item. And as they draw numbers, they are shown up on screen so people can tell which numbers are paired together. I believe Brock and Ash have like 8 and 9, and then since Dawn was entered later, she's like number 28 or something.
Well,
And this is where we get paired up with the characters I mentioned earlier.
yeah. I mean, the numbering system they use is real weird because I think Ash is like 15 and Brock is
Is
early.
he?
It's just weird.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Because I think he's screaming around looking for 5.
Got it. Okay.
Whatever.
Wait, what
It's
would...
super not important.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I was just thinking, since we're talking about the logistics of the event, we might as well go into that.
It was very disorganized.
Okay, what's disorganized about it?
Have you ever done anything where you grab random numbers and then you have to find your matching partner? Because telling everyone to just find their partner is
in
not
a
a good way to go
giant
about it.
stadium.
Okay,
Yeah.
sure. But, like, it's doable.
It's doable if you want it to take 5 hours.
Mm-hmm. Hey, they
Because
have time.
you'll get those people who won't move because they're like, well, if I stay in place, the other person will find me. And you'll always get 2 people that are supposed to be paired up who have decided to just stand on opposite ends of this ginormous stadium.
Mm-hmm.
It's a nightmare.
They really should have done something with, like, the Poketch. Or
I don't know.
Pokédex.
They also knew all who was attached to what number. Just announce the pairs.
Yeah. Hey, it's part of the adventure, you know? Part of the thrill of the tag battle here. You have to if you this tests your synchronicity and your synergy. If you can find the other person, that's a good start.
With the stranger.
Exactly.
Whom you've never met.
It's destiny. It's all meant to be. But the first one that we see here is Brock, who finds a bird keeper-esque person out in the distance and runs over towards them as he sees that it's a girl and it's his partner. But before he can get any closer, a Wingull swoops in front of him and lands on her arm. as she introduces herself as Holly, and Brock, of course, immediately starts fawning over her until she gives the best line, which is, "Sorry, I'm not into younger men," and walks away.
I wish everyone else would just say that to him, because it seemed to turn him off real quick.
Well, and also Krogunk like holding up the fist and then realizing he already got sucker punched was a nice touch.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was ready though.
He is ready. He's right there. Holly, a good character who should have stayed around.
Okay. Interesting. I mean, I think she stands out for that, but I'm wondering what you think about Holly maybe later on if you see what happens. And then the next pair is Dawn, who is matched up with a new character again, Conway, a interesting individual to say the least. As
Super creepy for no good reason.
He's in all green, which is already not great, with his glasses, doing the classic like anime glare.
Well, he's doing the classic anime villain glare. And he is super, super creepy to this woman he's never, ever met before. It's like they have super creepy Conway, and then they also have Brock doing his super creepy also thing, and it's just like, haha, it's not funny. These women are in danger.
Yeah, get them out of there.
How old do you think Conway is?
Oh, gosh.
That's kind of has to be like
30s?
12 or 13.
What?
30s?
Yeah.
They're the same height.
Yeah.
People are small. Hold on, let me look up Conway again. And let me
Yeah, we'll look up Conway, and as you look up Conway
about him. I mean, he is just Conway. He is just there. And he shows up later.
Right. As you look up Conway, Dawn is actually looking up Conway's Pokemon partner, who is Slowking in their Pokédex. So first time we see this. And I don't think we've seen Slowking in a long time, so I thought that was kind of neat. But it's also gigantic. Like,
it's very large. It's a very, very large Slowking.
Yeah. With its crown, it's like 6 feet tall at least.
Well, I mean, we only really see it next to Tiny Conway.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Slowking is in the games 6'7".
Oh, okay.
I mean, Slowking's is a big old Pokemon. It does stand 6'7".
Jeez.
So, Galarian Slowking is shorter.
And then,
Conway's way younger than I remembered in my head. But you know what? He reminds me of Ken from Digimon.
Oh, I've never watched, so I wouldn't know.
Oh, man. All right. Fell on deaf ears.
Conway appears to be based on the Super Nerd Trainer class.
Oh, yeah. There we go. Hey, we'll see that come into play in a bit. But before we go there, Dawn, of course, also looks up the Wingull that Holly has and says the words that have never been spoken before, which are, "Oh, wow, a Wingull."
How dare you, when Pico exists, and Pico is the greatest Pokemon character.
Oh, man.
How dare you!
I'm glad this isn't the advanced age podcast looking at the Hoenn anime. But she looks it up, and it talks about how it goes fast and all that good stuff that a Wingull does, apparently. And then we get introduced to the last pairing, which is Ash's partner. And as Ash kind of cheerfully goes around the stadium looking for his partner, Pikachu adorably standing on its head holding the number, which I thought was great.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, where's my partner? And then we hear a voice say, of course you had to be number 15.
Dun, dun! It's Paul on Paul's Make Him the Most Inhuman Person arc. Because he is the worst. And they really decide, let's really make him the worst.
Yeah. They hold nothing back here. He immediately tells Ash, don't get in my way. And Ash is like, hey, don't talk to me like that. I'm your tag battle partner. And Pikachu tries to go in and be the diplomat in this case by going up to greet Elekid, who seems to be pleasantly surprised until they start to shake hands, and Elekid just jolts Pikachu while flicking it away. So, negotiations just fail here immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys feel like this is the obvious kind of pairing that would happen in this situation?
Yes.
Yes. So once I found out that there was random teams, I figured that this was going to be the team. I may have thought like Brock and Dawn would have gone together.
Oh, okay.
But I'm glad that they didn't, because then that gave an opportunity to show off some other Pokemon. But
Right.
my old roommate had a really good saying about dogs. He said, "There are no bad dogs, just bad dog owners."
Mm.
And I feel the same thing about Pokemon, and that's why Elekid is the way that he is.
Yeah. Totally fair. I like
Paul
Elekid,
is
actually.
terrible. Paul is a terrible, terrible, terrible human being.
I was just waiting for someone to take his Pokemon away from him.
Well,
Look,
we
can talk about the failings of the Pokemon trainer system, about giving powerful nuclear grade weapons to unstable 11-year-olds. But if we go down that path, everything falls apart.
That's true.
Look, this is why you have Cynthia here, to keep everyone in check.
Cynthia, who does nothing but says, "Oh, ignore it. I'm sure it will be fine."
I'm just gonna have my ice cream, and I think it's all working out.
Yeah. Oh, those kids look like they're having fun.
Ha. And then we get the pairings on screen with Dawn and A Block, which she points out for some reason, and Ash and Brock in their own separate brackets as they go off and train. Ash looks around for Paul, and immediately they're like, "Yeah, this isn't gonna work." Like, everyone else tries at some point to do something. And we just cut to the battle immediately, which is first off with Dawn and Conway versus someone who's clearly based on the biker gang, or like the biker class.
Yeah.
And the last class or something. Very, very contrasted duo here. And to start off,
Coughing and Scyther, right?
Yes, Coughing and Scyther come out. Gen 1 Pokemon versus the Slowking and Piplup that Conway and Dawn bring. And Conway tells Dawn immediately as the battle starts, "Now go right ahead with your attacks, and don't worry one bit about defense. Just leave it to him, and don't think too much," he tells Dawn.
Yeah,
it's like, yeah, right.
I mean, don't think too much about how they abuse the actual way these moves work, but that's...
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
You just have to have the belief, and they'll be fine.
Safeguard stops the things. Okay.
Hey, I like the creative freedom here. Like, it's better than nothing.
Slowking can do Protect 4 too.
Oh, yes, exactly. But it starts off with Scyther using Razor Wind and Coughing using Sludge Bomb. Piplup counters with Bubble Beam to knock out the Razor Wind, and Sludge Bomb is coming right at them, but Slowking manages to use Safeguard, which protects both of them here. Maybe Brady wants to explain how Safeguard works as someone who does some of the battling, at least in the games.
Safeguard doesn't really come up that much, so I think you know way more than you or than I do about it.
Or maybe Greg, since you're alluding to it.
So Safeguard stops you from getting statuses. It protects you from getting any of the statuses: asleep, frozen, poisoned, paralyzed.
Confused.
Those can't happen. Sludge Bomb has a chance to poison, but does do a lot of just pure poison damage, which would not be blocked by Safeguard, which does not stop damage. It only stops the status effect.
Right. And what the anime does in this case is just kind of
negates the whole attack.
Yeah, it's like, oh, okay.
It's fine. Like, Bubble Beam can't block Razor Wind. So whatever.
Sure.
It's just it's like, okay, we're gonna.
They exaggerate it a bit for sure.
This is your reminder that the anime does its own, it does its what it wants, and just don't think about it.
So what's funny is the explanation that Brock says is exactly that. Like they're immune to status changes, but they so they just like, don't acknowledge that it also block damage.
Yeah.
I
mean, it could have done damage, and they decided not to show it. But that is that it does not seem to be the way that went down.
Yeah, and then we have Coughing use Thunderbolt, which would be a super effective move against both of these water type Pokemon. But Slowking is able to block it using Protect, which is a move that would usually just protect one Pokemon, but in this case, it blocks two. I'm guessing it's just that Slowking is so big, he's able to do it for tiny little Piplup.
Yeah, Piplup's just like hiding in between the feet.
Yeah. And that's when Conway says, "Hey, look, I wasn't lying. I'm covering your defense pretty good here." And Don's like, "Oh, okay. Well, I'll take the chance to like go in then." As Scissor goes in for X Scissor, Piplup does an adorable move where it jumps on top of Slowking and then dive bombs the Scyther with a peck attack, which I thought was great. And Scyther's out for the count, and all that's left is Coughing, who comes on in with a Gyro Ball, I believe, and Slowking just stops it immediately in its tracks with Psychic, and with a flick of its finger, slams it right into the ground. So, very decisive victory on their part. Yeah, they made a good duo, surprisingly enough.
Mm-hmm. And he was less creepy.
Yeah, when they're in battle, he's actually not as predatory seemingly to Dawn. So good there, maybe. Like hopefully this behavior continues is the thing to take away here. But Dawn's actually really enamored with how Conway battles and is immediately like, "Oh my god, tell me about how you battle, like all about this attack and defense that you speak of." She goes into saying, I know that's going to help me in my contests. And Conway's first reaction is, "Wait, you're a coordinator?"
Yeah.
I don't know. Like that seemed like a weird thing to be shocked about for me.
Especially when you're in the coordinator city.
Yeah. Like a place that's very famous that just had a big contest.
I mean, I think they were trying to maybe suggest that he was surprised at how good at battling she was. But battling is also oddly a part of coordinator life in this region. So yeah, it seemed odd.
Yeah, it's just kind of weird because coordinators can definitely diversify what they're doing with like stuff like this. The same way that and the same way that any trainer can really just join into the contests.
It makes me wonder if people who are like focused on one thing specifically look down on, first of all, like the other types. So like, do the gym trainers or the trainers going through like the gym battles, do they look down on the coordinators and vice versa? Do they think their profession or whatever hobby is better, or is there any sort of rivalry?
In the same way that Zoe does?
Yeah, kind of. That's kind of where I was taking this, was like Zoe is very conflicted about wanting to do both, and even Nando did both, and they were like, wait, what?
I mean, it really seems to be more from the coordinator role, and I can see that as like, hey, no, we're not just like doing pretty stuff, we're like raising our Pokemon in a certain way to do and perform these combinations. So I like from that I could see her taking like coordinators taking offense to trainers who think like, oh, you do the theater version of Pokemon, that's easy. Like we do the sports version. Kind of bringing it back to like a high school dynamic.
Yeah. I could see there being some sort of like rivalry there, and some people like being surprised that you're better than I expected someone from X category to be.
Yeah, just like have those innate biases or assumptions based on like
exactly
what they're strong in.
I mean, they're children. They're stupid children.
Hey, Nando's not a child.
Yeah, but Nando's also like, I'm going to do both.
Yeah.
Nando's like, I am actually in control of my life and my destiny, and I am actively ignoring the squabbling of these two children in my beautiful forest. I'm going to make them shut up until they listen to a cricket.
What? But like, what was he? Okay, what was Nando's backstory? Like, what was he doing before he decided on this? Because he's like an adult. He just has a Badoo to start, as far as we know.
Maybe he just had a random job working at the Pokemart.
As a bard, is this like his midlife crisis?
While
He
packs the
found his
bags.
true calling after working in the Poké Center for many years to ungrateful children. He decided I can do it better and left.
He was part of corporate Sinnoh and then decided to
leave.
Yeah. Okay.
Do what
I
the
can see
kids
that.
do.
And the kids here in this case have won their first battle, and Ash turns around to tell Paul, "Hey, look, they're unstoppable. We should be like working together like they are." Only to narrowly dodge a flamethrower that Chimchar launches as it's practicing its move. And Ash is actually kind of impressed here and immediately forgets he was in mortal danger by telling Chimchar, "Wow, you've really been working on that." And Chimchar thanks him for that compliment, but Paul immediately puts him down by saying, No, it wasn't.
Yeah.
And then Ash actually suggests here to like help out with the training, and Paul refuses, which fires up Ash again, telling him that this is a tag battle and we need to work together to win. Which Paul replies by saying, "It's always about you, isn't it?" And then immediately they start facing off with one another.
I guess I don't understand his intentions for this. Like, did he join to try to win this whole competition? Did he join just to get more experience on some of his Pokemon to, test them out? It seems like he doesn't really care in general.
Yeah, this is like an avenue for him to face other trainers, and it looks like his two goals here are really just to like get his Chimchar to become stronger, and also, as we'll discover in a bit, like get Chimchar better at absorbing fire type moves to power up its own fire moves.
Paul's plans and reasons are all very bad. It's a very bad person.
And Dawn here is like really like she's breaking it up, but she's really calling out Paul here as she says, "Matter of fact, is both trainers and Pokemon have to constantly think about each other in a tag battle. That's what Cynthia said." And then Paul recites the line that we got from that previous episode: "When every life meets another life, something will be born." And he goes, "So, Chimchar, let's go." And then exits scene. He remembers this quote clearly, but he's like, I'm not gonna deal with it.
I mean, he knows it, but does he know it in his heart?
The true question. Brady, did you see that Cynthia debut? And
yeah, I did.
Okay, what do you think
Paul
about
tried
this?
To fight her and just looked horrible. Yeah, that was rough.
What do you think about this line and how she's kind of tied Ash and Paul together with the quote?
I'm not really 100% sure what to think about it yet. I don't know if that comes from the games because I haven't played them. I don't know if that like ties into the story in that aspect, or if it's just something to say like, oh, these two are destined to do something in this region, but we're going to be super vague and just tell you a little bit about some legendary Pokemon.
I think your latter guess is really spot on. As far as I know, I don't think this quote is in the game. Yeah, it sticks on as a recurring like theme of the show. Here, it's really kind of like, I don't know. It's not used in the smartest way, I'd say. We cut to the next battle, which is Wingull, which is Brock and Holly using their Wingull and Sudowoodo against a Yanma and a Bagon. As Yanma is catching up to Wingull with its Steel Wing. Holly wants it to attack with Blizzard, but it's not fast enough to turn around. And Brock knows that this is going to happen, so Immediately, we see Yanma's Steel Wing hit Wingull, and it goes in for a nosedive. And Holly tries to tell Wingull to change direction, to go like straight up and avoid the Bagon that's coming at it with a Zen Headbutt. But Brock says there's no time and sends in Sudowoodo with a double edge to counter the Bagon and make a clear landing for Wingull. And the other partners, who are just named Boy A and Boy B, just immediately start arguing with each other. Because they're like, no, I was carrying the team here, now you have to do, you're missing the opportunity, and all the classic teamwork mishaps. And while they're arguing...
Foreshadowing.
No, there we go, yeah. And Wingull immediately goes in with a Blizzard, which is a great move, because it's going to do massive damage to both these Pokemon. But Bagon is able to fire off a Dragon Breath, I believe, in which Sudowoodo dodges, goes around, and uses Flail on him in a very cartoony style.
Yeah.
So that looks like it takes out Bagon, and then Wingull finishes off Yanma with an Aerial Ace. So generally, I think this was a nice little battle. Pretty short, but to the point, I'd say.
It was just like the classic teamwork versus chaos.
Greg, were you going to say something?
No, it was short and sweet, and it didn't do anything more than it needed to be.
Right, and the immediate reaction that we see from Brock is that he is like, oh, that was great, we did awesome, as he grabs Holly's hands, and then is immediately like, oh, no, she doesn't want that, never mind. But Holly grabs his hands and says, you work so well with your Sudowoodo, and Brock's like, yeah? And then she says, this is when you know the relationship's not going to last, because she says, together, we can be the greatest tag team the world's ever known.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, if you say that on your first date / battle, you're just setting expectations way too high. Let me say that.
Well, I think Holly's matching Brock's energy here.
Oh, okay.
Brock started it. Let's be real.
That's true. Now she's just playing with him.
Oh, really? Okay.
I mean, she's not into younger guys, but Brock knows what he's doing. So the door opens, I think.
Okay. She's starting to see that. They maybe
say, oh, you're not a squabbling 10-year-old screaming in a forest. You actually might have an ounce of intelligence.
You know, I think Brock might have a better chance if he told people he's a gym leader. Just saying.
Yeah,
because
that's just bragging, though. Nobody likes it.
Oh, okay. That's fair.
I'm the first gym in the very first
region,
and I get defeated by every water type and fighting type that comes up, but sure.
And grass. And speaking of type advantages here, we cut to the next match, which is Ash and Paul versus another set of trainers. Paul brings out Chimchar, Ash brings out Pikachu, and it doesn't look like it's a good matchup because they're up against a Rhydon and a Magmar. And this is even called out by people in the stands like Conway, who says Pikachu's not going to have any effect on this Rhydon with electrical attacks. And Chimchar is not going to be super effective against either of them either, since both fire, rock, and ground all resist its fire type moves. But this doesn't dismay Ash as he uses Thunderbolt on Magmar until he doesn't use Thunderbolt on Magmar. Brady, you want to step in here?
Yeah, I'm just so happy that they showed off Lightning Rod. Because I know we talked about this previously. We talked about, I think it was Elkid absorbing electric, or I guess lightning. Right? Wasn't that a previous episode we talked about? Yep. And they said that it made it stronger, and I was asking if they were trying to make it like a lightning rod type situation. And then they clearly brought out lightning rod, so that was really cool.
Yeah, and it very explicitly redirects the attack that was going towards Magmar to Rhydon.
I feel like Ash's blind spots here are all Brock's fault.
Oh, really? How come?
Because of that falsehood in Brock's gym that allowed him to think Pikachu could do anything to an Onix.
Mm-hmm.
Brock has never corrected that, has never had the talk with Ash like, I felt pity on you and you turned on the sprinklers. But you really need to learn your actual types. But no, never corrected it. Just lets Ash think he can win with electric type against rock, ground, anything out there. And he always pays the price.
Okay, it always messes me up too, though, because I'm pretty sure every rock type in Kanto is also ground type. So for me, I learned that, like, oh, rock types are immune to electricity also. So it wasn't until much later on that I'm like, no, it was just the fact that those two are connected in typing for that region that makes them immune to electric type attacks. Well, oh no, there's Aerodactyl. Never mind. Okay, moving on. So
Rock flying, yeah.
Rock
yeah,
flying.
that's true.
Super
The
effective.
fossils. Mm-hmm. And then we see Rhydon immediately going for a Mega Horde on Pikachu. So he takes a massive amount of damage to start off this battle. And Paul also calls out Ash for not knowing about Lightning Rod. Dawn asks about it, and Brock actually does explain it to Dawn, does not explain it to Ash apparently before this point. Now we see the gravity of the situation is that not only can Pikachu not use its electric type moves on Rhydon, it can't use them at all in this battle.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get another combination here as we have Magmar use Lava Plume, which is a new move in Gen 4, and Rhydon just takes it because he quadruple resists it. But it's a move that hits everything on the field, so it's coming for both Pikachu and Chimchar.
And the battle should be over here, but it's not.
Because Paul uses it to his advantage by having Chimchar jump into the lava plume, absorb the heat, and launch a flamethrower out. Which seems like it's going to do a good amount of damage, but then it's immediately disrupted by a Shieldon who blocks it, and then uses Hammer Arm to strike some major damage. So by this point, statistically, both of these Pokemon should be knocked out.
Yes. Yet here we are.
But Brady, what do you think about this combo between Rhydon and Magmar?
We haven't got to the best part of it yet,
Okay.
but so far, I was really liking it. I like the idea that these moves in double battles, like in the games, that affect the entire field, and the anime will also affect the entire field. Because a lot of times, I feel like it's portrayed to just affect the opponents.
And then Pikachu goes in for an Iron Tail to block the Rhydon, which makes the opponents a bit more wary as they tell each other, hey, watch out, Pikachu can't use electric type moves, but it's still gonna be a threat here. So they lead into their ultimate finisher move, which is, I think, what Brady's been waiting for. Magmar uses Protect, and Rhydon uses Surf.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah,
I think
that was a good move.
The only thing that would have made it better is if like the Protect bubble was like on top of the waves and just kind of like chilling up there, bouncing around.
Have the Magmar just surfing.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I like this is something I've seen in VGC, I'm pretty sure.
Mm-hmm.
So I really like this detail because it's a great move to hit every one of your opponents while not taking any damage yourself. At least that's the plan. But since we got some, what's it called, plot armor going on here, we have Paul actually trying to go into the wave with Flame Wheel to hopefully like cut through it, I guess, and show just like overpower the surf attack that Rhydon's coming in with. And Pikachu and Ash are like freaking out. Pikachu's just like waving its arms adorably, like, hey Ash, like what do I do here? And Ash actually thinks back to the contest that we saw last episode.
And learned the lesson Dawn doesn't.
He learns that you can... Wait, what do you mean Dawn doesn't?
Because Dawn's always just like, I'm just doing my stuff. They never showed Dawn in this episode reflecting back to what happened in the contest. They only show Ash. It's like, Okay.
Hey, wait, this was the appeal round. Okay, so Dawn did see this. Okay. Because what he's thinking of is how Glamio cut through Shelos's water pulse in the appeal round and is inspired to do the same using Pikachu's Iron Tail and spinning, which is the theme of this season.
Mm-hmm.
And further, as we see it carry on, and he's able to break the wave and then keep using that momentum to knock out Rhydon, which I found pretty satisfying, actually.
Did the
What do you
Pikachu
guys
hit
think
the
about-
Rhydon, or did the Rhydon just fall?
Rhydon started falling, and then Pikachu hit
Pikachu
it.
barrels into him.
Okay.
Yeah.
I somehow missed that then, because I just thought it like knocked out from the fall from
Oh.
being way up top of the wave.
No, I was thinking like that might happen, but like Pikachu actually keeps using the Iron Tail, which I found impressive, but also kind of like, dang, like Pikachu, how are you not dizzy by now? And then Pikachu goes in for a Volt Tackle on the Magbar now that there's no Lightning Rod. And I also don't know how the anime would show Volt Tackle being attracted by Lightning Rod. That would be kind of weird. And Chimchar comes up from the ground using Dig, while Magmar is distracted by Pikachu. And they secure the first win in a pretty cool battle that did not look like was going in their favor at all as we started.
Now, Paul is just reckless with that Chimchar.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I get jumping into the fire. That's one thing, but like,
Mm-hmm.
oh yeah, just go flame wheel straight into water, into the ocean.
Yeah, just the giant surf is up. Go for it.
Where
Get
do
in
you
there,
think
Chimchar.
where do you think the water comes from when he summons the surf?
Look,
I stopped thinking about that.
We don't need to. We don't need to delve into these mysteries.
But here, the real mystery as we close this battle is how this team is going to work together. Because even though they won, Paul is very much like, why'd you do that? You're getting in my way. Like, Chimchar was totally going to take that surf. And Ash is just mad as well at everything that's going on here. Conway says, my analysis that this is a net result of separate efforts. So they did not work together whatsoever. It's a miracle at all that they won.
Yeah.
But Ash is actually still determined to like work as a team. Like he ends up falling into the support role of the two here, but his goal is for them to work together.
Because Ash is dumb.
He has too much faith in people and Pokemon.
Yeah. Sure.
As a child, that makes sense. Once he gets
Yeah.
older, he'll learn to not rely on other people and be like, "Oh, that was a mistake.
Yeah.
You show
I
me
mean,
who you
he
are.
should
Okay,
not-
I get it."
He should not rely on this horrible person either, but here we are.
And yeah, all our heroes have made it to the second round. And this closes out the first part of the episode. So overall, what did you guys think about episode 49, Tag We're It?
I thought it was pretty good. I liked seeing some of the different Pokemon, like Slowking. That's not one that I think about too often, but just seeing it animated is nice.
I mean, apart from some of the super weird choices they made with like character introductions and how they interact, like overall, it didn't feel like a filler episode at all. Although it kind of is in the fact that it doesn't really. It sets up a little bit an already stressed and antagonistic relationship between Ash and Paul. It's really there to just be like, get ready for it, because we're gonna double down on what a horrible person Paul is, and this is your first clue that he is terrible.
You hadn't figured out by this point.
Yeah, if you haven't figured out by this point, you just wait. So I mean, I think it does a good. The battles are decent. It feels mostly filler. Like they could have skipped to 2 and sort of skipped a lot of the weird introduction stuff and would have been just fine. But
yeah, I don't think the battles start until like halfway through the episode.
Yeah, it's just a lot of weird character introductions of people who probably just aren't going to stick around. Like, kind of know that they're potentially for this one little bit only.
Brady, any thoughts on some of the new characters that we met here?
Yeah, I think just overall, like Greg is saying, it's pretty apparent that most of the characters that they're introducing now are just going to be for this doubles battle, and they may bring it back sometime in the future, just randomly as a cameo, but they're not going to really be anyone important, or at least that's the feeling I got. And so it's like they spent a lot of time introducing these characters that don't really have a big payout at the end.
There is a trend here, this being Sinnoh and the Diamond Pro anime, that characters do come back, and it's going to be either Holly or Conway. I think Greg knows the answer, but if you were to guess, Brady, which of these two do you think comes back in the future?
Well, it's probably Conway because you can't bring a girl that kind of liked Brock, or at least pretended to like Brock or whatever, back into the picture.
That's a silent rule.
Yeah, that's just not good for anyone.
That's just reality.
Yeah, destined to be forever alone.
Ooh, that hurts. But yeah, overall, I think I really enjoyed the battles of this episode. They weren't the best, but the like references to some in-game mechanics I thought was really well done, at least with the last part. Even though it kind of overshowed the whole Ash and Paul dynamic, and because they overcome it and all that. It's interesting to see Brock battle. I wish they'd spent more time on that because it's just over in like less than a minute, and we don't even see the start. You're just like right in the middle. So those are my main gripes about that episode.
Yeah, I just wish they would honestly show more reasons why Brock was a gym leader. Like, it was always sort of implied that Brock was very good at being a gym leader. Like, all the gym leaders are supposed to be very good at what they do, and they never really give us decent Brock time to show why.
Yeah, like the whole arc with Rourke in the beginning of the season with Ash's first gym battle seems like it did more to develop the him as a Rock type gym leader than we ever saw with Brock.
I think Brock's only like gym leader experience, if you even want to call it that, comes out when he's teaching Dawn, or even in season 1 where he's kind of explaining some of the situations, whether it's like type advantages or moves or whatever. But it's like, I don't really think that's a gym leader trait. That should be a Pokemon trainer trait.
Yeah, like the minimum
that's how they separate
qualifications.
him. Yeah, that's how they like make him stand out.
What would you guys rate this episode?
I think it'd be like a 7.5. I like the battles. I thought that was enjoyable. If they gave me some more battles, I think I could have increased it, or just maybe made some of the battles longer.
Yeah, they definitely could have fleshed it out a bit more. So, just an overall, still pretty good episode. I would also give it a 7.5. It's nice that they actually put some time into this last part of the season, and they like made it a tournament arc, which is always kind of cool to see. Some trivia about this episode is that it aired as part of a 2-hour special along with episode 49. And so that was the episode before. And the reason that, so distinction here, this is episode 49 in the United States, but there's actually an episode 48, 2 episodes before, that we never got in the United States. And that's because that was a recap episode that was an hour long and was just clips from all the past episodes, kind of going over everything that's gone up to this point. So that's why there is a distinction in the numbering between the English version and the Japanese version.
Clip shows are the worst.
Yeah, this is the second time that they ever did it for the Pokemon anime. The first time was in the Advanced Generation arc in Hoenn, and also the English version of it skipped it as well. So good on them, because I never want to see that. So this is the beginning of the 3-part Hearthome City Tag Battle competition. This is a pun on the phrase "tag you're it," in case you didn't figure that one out.
I mean, it's not really a pun.
Yeah.
It's just changing it to tag we're it because they're
Yeah.
all involved in the battle. Like it's not
Like
a
a
pun.
rebranding of that
Yeah,
phrase.
it's an inclusive phrase.
Mhm. It's a play on words at best.
It's not as bad as the title for episode 51.
Again, to Slowking, this is the first appearance of a Slowking since a crowning achievement, which happened 256 episodes earlier.
There
wow.
are too many Pokemon anime episodes.
Yeah. We're in the 500s now. Let me see. In the Polish dub, Razor Wind is mistakenly called Razor Leaf.
Well,
Sorry,
So-
Poland.
Poland is a rough
Way to
time
go,
sometimes. But yeah, overall pretty solid episode. Any predictions of where this Hearthome tag battle tournament arc ends up?
I mean, I know where it ends up, but
Okay, well, Brady.
Yeah,
Wait, let me see the two.
I
No!
saw that we were at episode 49 out of 51, and I was like, I just need to watch the next two, see what happens. So,
I mean, I
Any-
will say this. It is a good arc. Like this
Mhm.
gets you at least somewhat interested in what happens next.
Yeah.
Although I have major quabbles about what happens in the next episode.
Okay.
I get real mad at a couple of things, but
Well, don't worry because I'm pretty sure someone's gonna get real mad when we record that.
Yeah, I guarantee it.
This has been episode 29 of Sights on Sinnoh, the Diamond Pro Anime podcast. Brady and Greg, thank you for being here. And this is the first time I think you've done an episode together. Is that right?
yeah, that's
Yep.
correct.
Nice. And if people want to find you on the internet, where can they do that?
Just Twitter. I
Just
guess.
Twitter?
Yeah, just
Twitter.
Twitter. Just say,
Okay.
you can on Twitch too, but I mean, yeah, it's at Symbaccoil.
Okay.
DYMBACOIL.
You can. I link to all my stuff on Twitter, so just go to Twitter and look up @WhiteWing.
And there you have it. Any closing thoughts before we move on to the next tag battleastic episode of this arc?
There needs to be an oversight committee to deal with people like Paul.
They need to just take his Pokemon away from him.
Who would be on that committee from the Pokemon world?
I don't know, like the Elite Four who have to
Okay.
deal with these children coming in and abusing the animals around them. Any of the gym leaders could like make a report like, yo, I think this kid is unhinged. Perhaps we should let him have super powerful animals.
Look, we just established in the last episode that the gym leader of this town isn't even here. We don't even know. They left a sign on their door and they're like, I'm out. So, I mean, first you have to control these gym leaders and Elite Four members
Well,
before you can focus on the training.
Gym leaders get
How about-
vacations.
Yeah. How about the professors that are giving these children Pokédexes in their first Pokemon?
Seriously, like,
Yeah.
is there no entrance exam? Is there no, hey, let's take the 7-page personality test
Mm-hmm.
to see how you would get along with, I don't know, a switchblade monster?
Oh no!
Have you ever tortured animals in your backyard? If
Yard.
yes, you do not get a Pokemon.
Well, there you have it. We will catch you next week for episode 50. Episode 50 of the Diamond Pearl anime, episode 30 of Sights on Sinnoh. And you can feel free to subscribe, like if you enjoy this. Let us know who you think would be on this oversight committee in the comments below. And until then, we will see you in Sinnoh. Until next time.
Bye.